There is a moment every championship team faces where they have to look in the mirror and ask themselves the hardest question: are we good enough as currently constructed? And right now, sitting at 14-4, second seed in the Western Conference, living through what might be the best start to a season we could have realistically dreamed of, the Los Angeles Lakers are staring directly at that mirror. But here's the thing that nobody wants to say out loud. The reflection staring back isn't showing us a finished product. It's showing us a team that's tantalizingly close to something special, but with cracks that could shatter everything when the playoffs arrive. And before this video ends, I'm going to walk you through exactly why the front office might be considering a move that could completely transform our defensive identity, and why the name that keeps coming up in conversations might surprise you more than you think. Welcome to Lakers News Fan Report, your home for the most updated news, the deepest breakdowns, and yes, all the rumors surrounding our beloved Los Angeles Lakers. I'm here every single day to make sure you're informed, engaged, and ready for whatever comes next in this incredible season we're witnessing. So let's talk about where we are right now. 14 wins, 4 losses. That's not just good. That's exceptional. That's the kind of start that makes you believe. That's the kind of record that has fans talking about banners, about parades, about adding number 18 to the rafters. And I'm not here to diminish any of that excitement, because we should be excited. This team has exceeded expectations. The chemistry is there. The veteran leadership is there. The hunger is absolutely there. But championship teams aren't built on regular season success alone. Championship teams are built on the ability to solve problems before they become catastrophic in May and June. And we have problems. Real, identifiable, exploitable problems that every single team in the Western Conference is watching film on right now, circling on their scouting reports, planning to attack when it matters most. Let me paint you a picture of what keeps me up at night as a Lakers fan. It's the fourth quarter of a playoff game. We're up by 3. There's 2 minutes left. The opposing team has a downhill point guard who's been picking us apart all series. He's attacking Marcus Smart off the dribble, and while Smart is giving everything he has, while he's using every ounce of that Defensive Player of the Year experience, the reality is he's 31 years old. He's past his athletic prime. He can't stay in front of these young, explosive guards the way he used to. They're getting to the rim. They're collapsing our defense. They're creating open threes. And suddenly, that three-point lead evaporates. Or here's another scenario. Conference Finals. We're facing a team with an elite big wing, 6'8", 6'9", strong, skilled, can shoot, can drive, can post up. And we're scrambling to find someone who can match up physically. We're switching everything, but the mismatches are killing us. Our smaller guards are getting posted up. Our bigs are getting pulled out to the perimeter. It's a nightmare matchup, and we don't have an answer. These aren't hypothetical concerns. These are real weaknesses that exist right now on this roster. Defending downhill point guards and covering big wings. Those are the two areas where we're vulnerable. Those are the two areas where a savvy playoff team will attack us relentlessly. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. We have Marcus Smart. He does his best. He's a warrior. He's a champion. And you're absolutely right. But doing his best at 31 isn't the same as doing his best at 27. Father Time is undefeated. We need to acknowledge that reality if we're going to have an honest conversation about how to fix these problems. So here's where things get really interesting. If you were the Lakers front office, if you were sitting in those meetings, looking at the roster, analyzing matchups, planning for the playoffs, what would you do? How would you address these weaknesses? The obvious answer is, you go get a defensive perimeter stalwart. You go get someone who can guard multiple positions, someone who has the size to handle big wings and the lateral quickness to stay with guards. You go get an elite two-way player who can contribute on both ends. And there's a name that immediately comes to mind when you start thinking about that profile. A player who embodies everything we need. A player who could theoretically solve both of our biggest defensive concerns in one move. That player is OG Anunoby. Now, before you start going crazy in the comments, before you start mapping out trade packages, let me walk you through why this is complicated. OG Anunoby is exactly what we need. He's 6'7" with a 7'2" wingspan. He can guard ones through fours effectively. He's shooting nearly 40% from three for his career. He's still in his prime at 27 years old. He's the kind of player you build championship defenses around. But here's the problem. The most logical trade package to acquire someone of Anunoby's caliber would need to include significant value. And when you're talking about the Lakers, when you're talking about a team with championship aspirations, the player with the most trade value, the player whose name would headline any blockbuster deal, is LeBron James. I can already hear the collective gasp. I can already see the comments flooding in. Trade LeBron? Are you insane? And look, I get it. I understand the emotional reaction. This is LeBron James we're talking about. One of the greatest players to ever touch a basketball, a 21-time All-NBA selection, the face of our franchise. The reason we won a championship in 2020. But here's the thing. Even if the front office wanted to explore that avenue, even if they thought trading LeBron for a package headlined by someone like OG Anunoby made basketball sense, they couldn't do it. LeBron has a no-trade clause in his expiring $52.6 million contract. He controls his own destiny. He decides if and when he moves, so that door's closed. That's not an option. We need to look elsewhere, so if we can't make a massive franchise-altering move, we need to look at more marginal changes. We need to find ways to shore up our defense without gutting the core of what makes this team successful. And that's where things get really fascinating, because there's another name that keeps popping up in trade discussions. A player who has the size and speed to effectively defend shooting guards through mobile power forwards. A player who's been rumored to be on the Lakers' radar for a while now, Andrew Wiggins. Now, I know Wiggins doesn't have the same defensive reputation as OG Anunoby. He's not going to make all defensive teams. But here's what he is. A 6'6" former All-Star and champion who's currently playing solid basketball for the Miami Heat. Through 16 games this season, he's averaging 16.4 points on 47.5% shooting from the field, 4.8 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 1.1 steals, and 1 block per game. Those are really solid numbers. Those are starting caliber numbers. More importantly, Wiggins has the physical profile we need. He's 30 years old, so he's still in that productive window. He's making $28.2 million this season with a $30.2 million player option for next year. That's a relatively reasonable contract for what he brings to the table. And he's exactly the type of versatile defender we need to match up against those big wings that give us problems. But here's where it gets complicated. Miami isn't just going to give Wiggins away. According to reports, the Heat have made it clear they won't be dumping Wiggins for expiring contracts. They want real value back. They want a future first-round pick and a player or two who could immediately contribute to their playoff pursuit. That's a significant asking price, but it's also understandable. Miami is 13-6. They're competing. They're not in rebuild mode. If they're going to move a rotation player like Wiggins, they need to get something meaningful in return. So let's talk about what a realistic trade package might look like. The Lakers have limited assets, but we do have some pieces that could interest Miami. The player with the best present-day on-court value among our movable assets is Rui Hachimura. Rui's been solid for us. He's making $18.3 million this season. He can score, he can defend multiple positions, he fits the modern NBA perfectly. But if we're being honest, he's not solving our perimeter defense problems the way someone like Wiggins could. To make the salaries work, we'd need to include another contract alongside Rui. The most logical options are Gabe Vincent's expiring $11.5 million salary, or Maxi Kleber's expiring $11 million deal. Vincent has fallen behind Marcus Smart in J.J. Redick's rotation, so moving him wouldn't significantly impact our depth. Kleber is a solid veteran big, but he's also expendable if it means upgrading our wing defense. Then there's the matter of draft compensation. The Lakers only have one tradable future first-round pick available this season, and that's in either 2031 or 32. But by the 2026 NBA draft, we'll have 3 tradable firsts. Would Miami accept a protected first-round pick, Rui Hachimura, and either Vincent or Kleber for Andrew Wiggins? That might depend on how valuable Miami thinks that pick will eventually become. If they believe the Lakers will still be competitive when that pick conveys, making it a late first-rounder, they might want more. But if they think there's a chance it could be a more valuable pick, they might be willing to pull the trigger. Now, I want to take a step back and talk about the bigger picture here, because this isn't just about Andrew Wiggins. This is about the Lakers' willingness to address their weaknesses before they become fatal flaws. This is about a front office that recognizes we're in a championship window right now and needs to maximize every opportunity. This is about not being satisfied with 14-4 when we know we can be better. Trading Rui Hachimura would hurt. He's a good player. He's been a solid contributor. But championship teams make tough decisions. They prioritize fit over individual talent. They recognize when a change needs to be made, even if it's uncomfortable. And if the Lakers believe that Andrew Wiggins gives us a better chance to win a championship than Rui Hachimura does, then they need to make that move. But let's also be realistic about what Wiggins would bring to this team. He's not going to be a 25 points per game scorer. He's not going to be the second or third option on offense. What he would be is a versatile defender who can take on tough assignments, a capable three-point shooter who can space the floor, and a veteran presence who's been through the playoff grind and won a championship. Those are exactly the qualities we need to complement our current roster. Imagine a closing lineup with Marcus Smart, Andrew Wiggins, and our current core. Imagine the defensive versatility that would give J.J. Redick. Imagine being able to switch everything without worrying about catastrophic mismatches. Imagine having someone who can legitimately guard the other team's best wing player for 35 minutes a night. That's the kind of upgrade that changes playoff series. And here's the thing that excites me most about this potential move. It doesn't mortgage our future. We're not giving up multiple unprotected first-round picks. We're not trading away young prospects with all-star potential. We're moving a solid rotation player, an expiring contract, and one protected future first for an immediate upgrade at a position of need. That's smart roster management. That's how you stay competitive while maintaining flexibility. Of course, there's risk involved. Wiggins' player option for next season means we could be committing $30.2 million to him for 2026-27. That's a significant financial commitment, but if he helps us win a championship this year, isn't that worth it? Isn't that exactly why we make these moves? The other consideration is chemistry. This team has great chemistry right now. Everyone knows their role. Everyone's bought in. Bringing in a new player mid-season always carries the risk of disrupting that chemistry. But Wiggins is a veteran. He's been in winning situations before. He understands how to fit in, how to contribute without needing the ball, how to do the little things that winning teams require. I'm not worried about him disrupting what we've built. So where does this leave us with the OG Anunoby speculation? Look, Anunoby would be the dream scenario. He's the perfect fit for what we need, but the reality is that acquiring him would require assets we either don't have or can't move. LeBron's no-trade clause takes the biggest possible deal off the table, and I don't see a realistic package of role players and picks that gets Toronto, or wherever Anunoby might be, to say yes without gutting our roster. Wiggins represents the more realistic path. He's not Anunoby, but he addresses the same core needs. He gives us size, versatility, and defensive capability on the wing. He's available. He's on a team that might be willing to deal him for the right price, and we have the assets to make a competitive offer without destroying our depth. This is the kind of move that separates good teams from championship teams. Good teams are satisfied with 14-4. Championship teams look at 14-4 and ask how they can get even better. Championship teams identify their weaknesses and aggressively pursue solutions. Championship teams make the tough decisions that set them up for success in May and June. I'm optimistic about where this team is headed. I'm excited about what we've accomplished so far this season, but I'm also realistic about what it takes to win a championship in today's NBA. You need stars, you need depth, you need chemistry, and you need versatility. We have most of those things. Adding someone like Andrew Wiggins would give us all of them. The front office has decisions to make. The trade deadline is approaching. Other teams are making moves, getting better, addressing their own weaknesses. We can't afford to stand pat and hope everything works out. We need to be proactive. We need to be aggressive. We need to do whatever it takes to maximize this championship window. So here's what I want to know from all of you. Do you think the Lakers should pursue Andrew Wiggins? Is giving up Rui Hachimura, an expiring contract, and a future first-round pick worth it for the defensive upgrade Wiggins would provide? Or should we stand pat with the roster we have and trust that what got us to 14-4 is good enough to win it all? And what about OG Anunoby? Is there a realistic trade package you can think of that would land him in Los Angeles without including LeBron? Drop all your thoughts in the comments below because I genuinely want to hear what you're thinking. This is our team. These are our championship aspirations. Let's talk about it. If you want to stay on top of every Lakers rumor, every trade possibility, every lineup adjustment, and every piece of analysis that matters, make sure you subscribe to Lakers News Fan Report. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. We're here every single day, bringing you the content you need to stay connected to your team. This season is special. This team is special. And with the right moves, we could be celebrating banner number 18 in a few months. Let's make it happen. Lakers Nation, let's get it done.